In the last episode, my companions and I had just emerged victorious in our bid to reform Lyrian's government, and I was basking in the admiration of those we'd come to consider friends. Our enigmatic ally had sent a cryptic message, setting me on a perilous path to find the fabled Aethereian archive. I stood at the edge of our makeshift camp, gazing out into the gathering dusk. The flickering flames of our campfires danced across the rugged terrain, casting eerie shadows on the surrounding rocks. My mind still reeled from the message. What was this archive, and why was it so crucial to our quest? I'd have to find Elara, the elusive cartographer, to get any answers. Her arcane maps were rumored to hold the key to navigating the treacherous landscapes and hidden strongholds that lay between us and our goal. I turned to my companions, my eyes locking onto Dr. Orion's intense gaze. His radical theories on Aethereia's forgotten past had already proven invaluable to our quest. Elara's our next lead, I said, my voice low and urgent. We need to track her down and fast. Who knows what other factions are searching for her? Dr. Orion nodded, his eyes burning with a fire that seemed almost obsessive. I've studied Elara's work. Her maps are the only ones that might lead us to the archive. We can't afford to let her fall into the wrong hands. I nodded, a plan already forming in my mind. All right, let's gear up. We head into the forsaken city at dawn. The darkness seemed to press in around us as if the very shadows themselves were listening in on our conversation. As I lay back on my makeshift bed, my thoughts turned to Elara and what secrets she might hold. What lay ahead I had no idea, but I steeled myself for the journey. The wind picked up, whipping through the camp, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. Something was out there watching us. I knew it. The stars began to twinkle in the night sky, and I closed my eyes, the weight of our quest settling heavy on my shoulders. The city of Aethereia lay before us, a labyrinth of ancient ruins and hidden dangers. We were about to take the first step into the unknown. The darkness seemed to coalesce into a presence beside me, a presence that seemed to be waiting. For me. For us. The journey was about to begin. Previously, Alex and his companions celebrated their victory in reforming Lyrian's government, only to receive a cryptic message from their enigmatic ally, setting Alex on a perilous path to find the fabled Aethereian archive. With Dr. Orion's guidance, they decided to track down Elara, the elusive cartographer, whose arcane maps promised to guide them to the archive. As I opened my eyes, the presence beside me was gone, but the feeling of being watched lingered. I sat up, my heart racing, and gazed out into the darkness. The camp was quiet, with only the occasional snore or rustle of fabric breaking the silence. I rose to my feet, my senses on high alert. Something was indeed out there, and it was waiting for us. I approached Dr. Orion's makeshift workbench, where he was busy poring over ancient texts and diagrams. His eyes flickered up to mine, and he nodded almost imperceptibly. "I've made some progress," he whispered. "Elara's maps are encoded with ancient Aethereian symbols, but I believe I can decipher them. We'll need to move quickly, though. I've detected signs of rival treasure hunters in the area." A shiver ran down my spine as I gazed out into the darkness. We weren't the only ones searching for Elara, and we certainly weren't the only ones willing to do whatever it took to claim the archive's secrets. I nodded, my mind racing with the stakes. "All right, let's gear up." We move out at dawn. The rest of the night was a blur of activity as we packed our gear and made final checks on our equipment. As the first hints of light crept over the horizon, we set out into the forsaken city. The air was heavy with the weight of centuries of abandonment, and the silence was oppressive, punctuated only by the sound of our footsteps echoing off the ruins. Dr. Orion led the way, his eyes fixed on the map in his hand, guiding us through the winding streets of the abandoned city. We moved swiftly, our senses on high, scanning our surroundings for signs of danger. As we delved deeper into the city, the buildings grew taller and the air thickened with an eerie, unnatural silence. Suddenly, Dr. Orion halted, his eyes fixed on a symbol etched into the wall. "Elara's mark," he whispered. "She's close." We exchanged a tense glance, our hearts racing in anticipation. We were about to enter the lair of the elusive cartographer, and only time would tell if we'd emerge victorious previously. Alex and his companions celebrated their victory in reforming Lyrian's government, only to receive a cryptic message from their enigmatic ally, setting Alex on a perilous path to find the fabled Aethereian archive. With Dr. Orion's guidance, they decided to track down Elara, the elusive cartographer, whose arcane maps promised to guide them to the archive. As we ventured deeper into Elara's lair, the air grew thick with an otherworldly energy, and I could feel the weight of centuries-old secrets pressing down upon us. Dr. Orion's eyes gleamed with an almost fanatical intensity as he deciphered the cryptic symbols etched into the walls, leading us through a labyrinthine series of hidden chambers and secret passageways. Finally, we emerged into a cavernous space, where Elara herself stood, gazing out at us with an unnerving intensity. "So, you're the ones who've been following the breadcrumbs," she stated, her voice husky and detached. "I've been waiting for you. You have something I need: Dr. Orion's research on Aethereia's forgotten past." I exchanged a wary glance with Dr. Orion, who shook his head almost imperceptibly. "We're not bartering," I stated, my hand drifting to the hilt of my sword. "We need your maps to get to the Aethereian archive." Elara's gaze flickered to mine, her eyes glinting with a calculating intensity. "Very well," she purred. "I'll give you the maps, but only if you can prove your worth. If you fail, I'll make sure you leave this city alive." The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end as I gazed into Elara's lair, where the shadows themselves seemed to pulse with malevolent energy. I knew we were in grave danger, but I also knew that we couldn't back down now. We had to push forward, no matter the cost. Previously, Alex received a cryptic message from their enigmatic ally, setting him on a perilous path to find the fabled Aethereian archive, and with Dr. Orion's guidance, they tracked down Elara, the elusive cartographer, whose arcane maps promised to guide them to the archive, only to discover that Elara would only give them the maps if they could prove their worth. As Elara's words hung in the air, I could feel the weight of our mission bearing down on me. The archive, with its secrets of Lyra's biotechnology, was within our grasp, but at what cost? Dr. Orion's eyes locked onto mine, and I knew we shared a single thought: we had to get those maps. Elara's gaze swept over us, a cold, calculating assessment. In the heart of this city lies a temple dedicated to the Aethereian entity, Zarin. Within its walls lies a relic, a crystal orb that holds the key to unlocking the archive's secrets. I require that relic as payment for the maps. My mind raced as I glanced at Dr. Orion, whose face was a mask of intensity. I knew we couldn't trust Elara, but we had no choice. We had to get that relic. With a nod, I sealed our fate. "Well, get the relic. But if you're playing us, Elara, you'll regret it." A cold, mirthless smile spread across Elara's face. "I'm shaking in my boots, Alex. You have until dawn to retrieve the relic. If you fail, you'll never leave this place alive." As Elara's words faded away, the shadows in the room seemed to deepen, as if the very darkness itself was watching us, waiting for us to take the first step into the unknown. I glanced at Dr. Orion, and with a shared determination, we set out to brave the treacherous temple of Zarin and the secrets it held previously. Alex and Dr. Orion were sent on a perilous quest by the enigmatic cartographer, Elara, to retrieve a crystal orb from the temple of Zarin in exchange for the arcane maps leading to the Aethereian archive. With the clock ticking and their lives hanging in the balance, they embarked on a treacherous journey to claim the relic. But at what cost? As we ventured deeper into the heart of the forsaken city, the air grew heavy with an otherworldly energy, like the temple was awakening from a centuries-long slumber. Dr. Orion's eyes gleamed with an intense focus, her footsteps light and precise as she navigated the winding streets. I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease creeping up my spine, as if we were being herded toward some dark and ancient purpose. The temple of Zarin materialized before us, its twisted spires reaching toward the sky like skeletal fingers. A shiver ran down my spine as I pushed open the creaking doors, and a warm golden light enveloped us, bathing the chamber in an ethereal glow. At the far end of the room, the crystal orb pulsed with an inner light, suspended above a pedestal, surrounded by an intricate web of symbols that seemed to shimmer and dance. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the chamber, a low, melodious timbre that resonated deep within my chest. "So, mortals, you dare to disturb the rest of the Ancient Ones," it said. "What is it that you seek in this temple?" I took a step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. "We come for the crystal orb. It's the key to unlocking the secrets of the Aethereian archive." A low, mournful sigh echoed through the room, and the symbols surrounding the pedestal began to pulse with an ominous energy. "You would seek to claim the power that has lain dormant for so long. Very well, mortals. You shall have your chance. But first, you must prove your worth." As the voice faded away, the symbols surrounding the pedestal flared to life, bathing the room in a blinding radiance. When my vision cleared, I found myself standing in a vast, desolate landscape, the sky a deep crimson hue, and the air thick with the scent of ozone. Dr. Orion stood beside me, her eyes locked on mine, and I knew we were about to embark on a trial by fire. Previously, Alex and Dr. Orion ventured into the Temple of Zarin to retrieve a crystal orb in exchange for the arcane maps leading to the Aethereian archive. However, they were met with a mysterious voice that challenged them to prove their worth, transporting them to a desolate landscape with a crimson sky. As I gazed into the abyssal expanse, a figure emerged from the shadows, its eyes blazing with an inner fire. Dr. Orion's hand instinctively went to her pocket, where she kept a device that could analyze the being's energy patterns. I, on the other hand, felt an unsettling sense of familiarity, as if I had witnessed this creature before in my dreams. "What is this trial?" Dr. Orion asked, her voice steady despite the tension. The being regarded us with an unblinking stare. "You will be tested in 3 aspects: courage, wit, and sacrifice. Each trial will push you to the brink of your limits, and only then will you be granted the crystal orb." Without warning, the landscape shifted and a rickety bridge materialized, spanning a seemingly bottomless chasm. The being gestured toward the bridge. "The first trial begins now. Who among you will take the first step?" I felt a surge of determination, remembering the countless times I had faltered, only to rise again, stronger and more resolute. I turned to Dr. Orion, and our eyes shared a silent understanding. Together, we would face whatever lay ahead. With a deep breath, I stepped onto the bridge, the wooden planks creaking beneath my feet. Dr. Orion followed close behind, her eyes fixed on the being as if anticipating its next move. The bridge swayed ominously, the wind howling like a chorus of restless spirits. Suddenly, the bridge began to disintegrate, plank by plank, leaving us with fewer and fewer options. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest. Dr. Orion's hand shot out, grabbing onto mine as we neared the midpoint. Together, we leaped into the unknown, the bridge giving way beneath our feet. Time seemed to slow as we plummeted toward the abyss, our hands still clasped together. In that instant, I knew that our bond would be the key to overcoming the trials ahead, and that our friendship would be the greatest treasure of all. But as we fell, the crimson sky seemed to grow darker, as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling. I couldn't shake the feeling that we were playing into the hands of a far greater power, one that would stop at nothing to claim the secrets of the Aethereian archive. Previously, Alex and Dr. Orion faced the first trial in the desolate landscape with a crimson sky, leaping into the unknown as the bridge disintegrated, and their bond was put to the ultimate test. As we fell, the air thickened, and the sky seemed to implode, like a canvas torn asunder by an unseen hand. The sensation was akin to being swallowed alive by a vortex, every molecule of our bodies screaming in protest. Time dilated, and in that eternal moment, I saw the threads of our lives intertwining. Dr. Orion's fierce determination, my own unwavering resolve and the unspoken trust that bound us. The world around us dissolved, and we materialized in a vast, crystal chamber, the walls resonating with an otherworldly energy. The air vibrated with an expectant silence, as if the very fabric of reality awaited our next move. Dr. Orion's hand still grasped mine, our fingers interlocked like a lifeline. I felt a shiver run down her spine as she gazed upon the room's centerpiece, a pedestal supporting a gleaming, silver-plated sphere. "The second trial," a voice announced, echoing off the crystal walls. "In this chamber, the threads of time are susceptible to manipulation. You will be presented with 3 scenarios, each a possible outcome of your quest. You must choose which path to pursue, and the consequences will be yours to bear." The room began to shift, sectioning into 3 distinct areas, each containing a holographic projection of a possible future. In the first, I stood victorious, the Aethereian archive sprawling before me like a conquered kingdom. In the second, Dr. Orion lay defeated, her eyes vacant, her brilliant mind shattered by the trials. And in the third, our companions, Lyra and Aaron, stood united, but at the cost of countless lives lost in the struggle to claim the archive's secrets. Dr. Orion's grip on my hand tightened as we exchanged a weighted glance. The choice was ours, but the consequences would be far from clear. I felt the burden of our collective future weighing upon me, the fate of Aethereia hanging in the balance. The fate of our friendship, too, as we stood at the crossroads, ready to set foot on the path that would lead us to triumph or heartbreak. Previously, Alex and Dr. Orion faced the second trial in the crystal chamber, where they had to choose which path to pursue, and the consequences would be theirs to bear. 3 possible outcomes hung in the balance: victory, defeat, or a Pyrrhic triumph at the cost of countless souls. As we stood transfixed, the chamber's energy surged and the holographic projections began to warp, like reflections on rippling water. Dr. Orion's eyes darted between the scenarios, her mind racing with the implications. Suddenly, she yanked me toward the third projection, where Lyra and Aaron stood united, but at the cost of unimaginable devastation. "We can't let that happen," she whispered, her voice trembling. "We have to try and find another way." I hesitated, torn between the allure of victory and the potential cost of achieving it. But as I looked at Dr. Orion, I knew that we couldn't afford to gamble with the lives of our friends, our allies, and the entire world of Aethereia. Together, we stepped into the unknown, choosing a path that defied the projected outcomes. The room blurred, and we found ourselves hurtling through a swirling vortex, the air whipping around us like a maelstrom. When we finally emerged, we were standing on the edge of a desolate wasteland, the landscape stretching out to the horizon like a barren grave. In the distance, we saw a faint light, a lone beacon piercing the gloom. "That's the next trial," I said, my voice firm, my determination growing. "Let's go." Dr. Orion nodded, her eyes ablaze with a fire that had never burned brighter. Together, we set off into the unknown, our footsteps echoing across the wasteland as the stakes grew higher, and the fate of Aethereia hung precariously in the balance. As we walked, the silence between us grew, the only sound being our footsteps and the soft rustling of the wind. But I knew that, beneath the surface, Dr. Orion's mind was racing, analyzing and searching for a way to overcome the trials, to unlock the secrets of the Aethereian archive. The wasteland stretched on, seemingly endless as the sun beat down upon us, relentless in its intensity. We trudged on, our footsteps slow but our determination unbroken. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we reached the source of the light we had seen from afar, a towering structure, unlike anything I had ever seen before. It was as if the very essence of the land had been harnessed and transformed into a testament to the ingenuity of the ancient civilization. "What is this place?" Dr. Orion whispered, her voice full of awe. I shook my head, my own eyes wide with wonder. "I've never seen anything like it, but I think we're about to find out." As we approached the entrance, the air around us began to vibrate as if the structure itself was awakening. Slowly, the walls began to glow and a low, resonant hum filled the atmosphere. I felt Dr. Orion's hand on mine and I turned to look at her. Her eyes were shining with an otherworldly intensity, her face set in a determined expression. Together, we stepped into the unknown, our hearts pounding, as the hum grew louder and the walls of the structure began to pulse with energy. The next trial was upon us, and we were ready previously. Alex and Dr. Orion faced the second trial in the crystal chamber, where they had to choose which path to pursue, and the consequences would be theirs to bear. They chose a path that defied the projected outcomes, stepping into the unknown and finding themselves hurtling through a swirling vortex, ultimately emerging in a desolate wasteland. As the hum grew louder and the walls of the structure began to pulse with energy, Dr. Orion's eyes locked onto mine, and I could see the unspoken words. We're about to uncover secrets that could change the course of Aethereia. We stepped forward, the air thickening around us and the hum reaching a climax. Suddenly, the walls burst into radiant light and we were enveloped in a vision of the Aethereian archive. I saw Elara's maps unfolding before me, like a roadmap to the ancient civilization secrets. I saw artifacts, relics, and forgotten knowledge waiting to be unlocked. And I saw Lyra, standing at the heart of the archive, her eyes shining with a fire that burned brighter than ever before. "Welcome, Alex," she said, her voice echoing in my mind. "You've taken the first step towards unlocking the secrets of Aethereia." But as the vision faded, the hum ceased, and the walls of the structure began to recede, we weren't alone. A group of shadowy figures emerged from the wasteland, their eyes fixed on the structure, and their intentions written in the darkened creases of their faces. "Looks like we've got company, Dr. Orion," I said, my voice low, my hand instinctively reaching for the hilt of my sword. As we faced the unknown opponents, I knew that this was just the beginning of our journey. We would have to navigate the treacherous landscapes of Aethereia, avoid the relentless pursuit of the Archon regime, and face the ancient entities guarding the archive. But with Dr. Orion's brilliant mind and my determination to unite Aethereia, I knew that we would overcome the challenges ahead and claim the secrets of the Aethereian archive. We stood firm, ready to take on whatever lay before us as the structure faded into the background and the wasteland stretched out like a barren grave. The air was thick with tension, and the silence between us grew, the only sound being the soft rustling of the wind. But beneath the surface, I knew that Dr. Orion's mind was racing, analyzing and searching for a way to overcome the trials ahead. "Let's get moving," I said, my voice firm, breaking the silence. "We've got a long way to go and the fate of Aethereia hangs in the balance." Dr. Orion nodded, her eyes sparking with determination as we set off into the unknown, our footsteps echoing across the wasteland. And the stakes grew higher previously. Alex and Dr. Orion uncovered a vision of the Aethereian archive. But as the structure receded, they were confronted by shadowy figures emerging from the wasteland, setting the stage for a treacherous journey to unlock the archive's secrets. As we ventured into the unknown, the wasteland's desolate landscape stretched out like an eternal grave, Dr. Orion's eyes fixed on the horizon, her mind racing with calculations and theories. Suddenly, she halted, her gaze snapping towards a peculiar rock formation in the distance. I followed her gaze, and my heart skipped a beat as I noticed the intricate carvings on the rocks. It was Elara's signature. Without a word, we hastened towards the carvings, our senses on high alert. The air was heavy with anticipation as we approached the rocks, Dr. Orion's eyes darting between the carvings and the wasteland's horizon. As we reached the rocks, I sensed an energy emanating from them, a power that seemed to reverberate through the Aethereian landscape. "This is it," Dr. Orion whispered, her voice barely audible over the wind. "Elara's map is hidden within these carvings. We just need to decipher the code." I watched in awe as Dr. Orion's hands danced across the carvings, her fingers moving with an almost supernatural speed and precision. The air around us began to shimmer, the carvings glowing with a soft, ethereal light. Suddenly, the rocks parted and a narrow path materialized, winding its way towards a distant range of hills. We exchanged a knowing glance. This was the path to the Aethereian archive. With renewed determination, we embarked on the treacherous journey, navigating the winding path, dodging hidden crevices and braving the unforgiving wasteland. As we journeyed, the landscape shifted, the air growing thick with ancient energy. I could feel the weight of Aethereia's forgotten past, the secrets of the archive drawing closer. As the sun began to set, casting the wasteland in a fiery orange glow, we spotted a figure watching us from the distance. Lyra, her eyes burning with an inner fire. "Lyra," I called out, my voice carrying across the wasteland. Lyra's gaze locked onto mine and I sensed a connection, a bond forged in our shared determination to unlock the secrets of Aethereia. "We're close," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The archive is hidden within the heart of the Eldred mountain range, but we're not the only ones searching for it." Her words hung in the air as we beheld the wasteland's horizon, where a convoy of armored vehicles, emblazoned with the Archon regime's insignia, emerged from the dust. "The Archon regime has caught wind of our quest," I said, my hand instinctively reaching for the hilt of my sword. Dr. Orion's eyes met mine, a spark of determination flashing between us. "Then we'll have to move faster," she said, her voice steady. "We can't let them claim the archive's secrets." With Lyra leading the way, we set off towards the Eldred mountain range, the wasteland silence shattered by the rumble of the Archon regime's convoy, the stakes growing higher with every step. Previously, Alex, Dr. Orion, and Lyra deciphered Elara's map, unlocking the path to the Aethereian archive. But their journey was threatened by the Archon regime's convoy, forcing them to hasten towards the Eldred mountain range, where the archive's secrets beckoned, and the fate of Aethereia hung in the balance. As we traversed the treacherous terrain, the air thickened with anticipation, our senses on high alert. Suddenly, Lyra halted, her gaze fixed on the landscape. I followed her gaze and my heart skipped a beat as I spotted the first signs of the long-lost city of Eldredor. Ancient ruins stretched out before us, the city's crumbling spires piercing the sky like shattered spears. "The city of Eldredor," Lyra whispered, her eyes aglow with wonder. "Legend has it that the city's ancient heart holds the key to unlocking the Aethereian archive." Dr. Orion's gaze darted between the ruins and the convoy, the Archon regime's presence looming like a dark cloud on the horizon. "We have to move quickly," she said, her voice laced with urgency. "The convoy is closing in, and we can't afford to get caught in the open." With Lyra leading the city's entrance, we ventured into the ancient metropolis, navigating labyrinthine streets and avoiding treacherous ruins' hidden dangers. As we delved deeper into the city, the silence was broken by whispers of an ancient technology, the air resonating with an otherworldly energy. I watched in awe as Lyra's skills came into play, her knowledge of the city's layout guiding us through the treacherous path. We stumbled upon ancient artifacts, relics of a bygone era, and secrets that could unlock Lyra's biotechnology. Suddenly, we found ourselves in the heart of the city, the ancient heart beating with an ancient pulse. At the center of the heart lay a portal, pulsating with energy, beckoning us to step forward. "The portal to the Aethereian archive," Dr. Orion whispered, her gaze locked onto the portal. "We're one step away from claiming the archive's secrets." As we prepared to step forward, the sound of armored vehicles echoed through the city's streets, the Archon regime's convoy closing in on our position. "We have to move now," Lyra said, her voice firm. "We can't let them claim the archive's secrets." I nodded, my determination to uncover the archive's secrets growing with every passing moment. With a deep breath, we stepped forward, the portal's energy enveloping us, transporting us to the very heart of the Aethereian archive, where secrets of the forgotten past awaited. Previously, Alex, Dr. Orion, and Lyra deciphered Elara's map, unlocking the path to the Aethereian archive. But their journey was threatened by the Archon regime's convoy, forcing them to hasten towards the Eldred mountain range, where the archive's secrets beckoned, and the fate of Aethereia hung in the balance. As we emerged from the portal, the air was alive with ancient energy, and the hum of forgotten technology reverberated through every molecule. Towering shelves stretched towards the ceiling, rows upon rows of ancient artifacts, relics, and texts that whispered secrets of the forgotten past. The Aethereian archive, the fabled repository of knowledge, lay before us, its secrets waiting to be unlocked. Dr. Orion's eyes sparkled with wonder, her hands trembling as she reached out to touch the ancient texts. "This is it," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "The collective knowledge of the Aethereian civilization." Lyra's gaze darted between the shelves, her eyes fixed on the ancient artifacts. "These relics hold the key to unlocking Lyra's biotechnology secrets," she said, her voice filled with determination. I watched in awe as they delved deeper into the archive, their footsteps echoing through the silence. The secrets of the forgotten past lay before us, waiting to be unearthed. As they worked, I took a moment to reflect on our journey. From the forsaken city to the ancient ruins, we had traversed treacherous landscapes, navigated hidden dangers, and confronted powerful foes. And through it all, our bond had grown stronger, forged in the fire of adversity. Suddenly, Lyra's voice pierced the air, her cry of triumph echoing through the archive. "I found it," she said, holding up a small, intricately carved crystal. "This is the key to unlocking Lyra's biotechnology secrets." Dr. Orion's eyes sparkled with excitement as she took the crystal from Lyra. "With this, we can create a new era of unity and cooperation," she said, her voice filled with hope. As they worked to unlock the secrets of the crystal, I felt a sense of pride and purpose. We had done it. We had overcome the odds and claimed the secrets of the Aethereian archive. But our journey was far from over. As we prepared to leave the archive, the sound of armored vehicles echoed through the corridors, the Archon regime's convoy closing in on our position. "We have to move now," Lyra said, her voice firm. "We can't let them claim the archive's secrets." Without hesitation, we set out to escape the convoy, our footsteps echoing through the corridors as we fought to protect the secrets we had uncovered. But we were not alone. Suddenly, the corridors were filled with the sound of gunfire and the shouts of our allies, Aaron and Lyra's fellow warriors. They had come to our aid, fighting to protect us as we made our escape. As we fought to escape the convoy, I watched in awe as our allies fought bravely, their determination to protect us evident in every action. We were not alone. We had forged bonds, created alliances, and inspired a new generation of Aethereians to strive for a better future. Finally, we emerged from the archive, the convoy's armored vehicles burning in the distance. We had claimed the secrets of the Aethereian archive and paved the way for a brighter future. As we stood victorious, surrounded by our allies, I felt a sense of pride and purpose. We had done it. We had overcome the odds and created a new era of unity and cooperation. Epilogue. As we stood victorious, the fate of Aethereia hung in the balance. The road ahead would be long and arduous, but we were not alone. We had forged alliances, created bonds, and inspired a new generation of Aethereians to strive for a better future. And as we walked away from the burning convoy, I knew that our journey was far from over. There were new horizons to explore, new challenges to overcome, and a new era of unity and cooperation to forge.